And Mahendra Kumar Sharma, did you come? Mahendra Kumar Sharma, not yet.
Joined.
Joined. Mahendra
Not
Sharma,
not joined, sir.
not joined. Okay. So, okay, Shibham and Ranveer, you start. You
Okay, sir.
start. As I told yesterday, talk on the architecture part, don't go to the hardware part. Software architecture consisting of component, connector, and configuration. Okay, and give some example. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, can you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, sir. So, can I start?
yeah, yeah. You are free to start. Yeah. Make your
Uh,
slide number. Can you make this slide number little bit bigger, or you can
um,
slide number insert slide number? Can you make the slide number? Yeah, bigger. Yeah,
okay, sir. I'll say which slide we are in.
yeah. Because if it is bigger, yesterday what Siddharth showed, it was the right kind of size. Always
In the
make.
client server, just give a hyphen in between them, client and server.
Okay, sir.
Okay, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. So, thank you, sir, for giving us this opportunity to present this presentation on the client server architecture. This PowerPoint is presented to you by
Go
me,
ahead.
Shivam Dalmia, and
You
Ranveer
can.
Sen.
Eh?
Yes, sir. So,
Shivam.
so start. Yes, sir. Hello.
Okay. Start. Shivam.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir. So, starting with the index of this PPT, that what are the topics that we are going to touch in this PPT. So, in this index portion, you can see we will discuss about what is client, the type of clients, what is server, client server architecture, types of server architecture, advantages and disadvantages, and some examples of this client server architecture. So, first of all, we'll discuss what is a client. Okay, so you can see, as we all know, that a client is a single user workstation that provides presentation services. What does that mean? That a client provides user an interface on which all the users can perform their activities, and they can have a connection with databases, and all they can perform all their activities and tasks and functions. So moving on to the definition, a client is a single user workstation that provides presentation services and the appropriate computing, connectivity, and the database services that a user wants, that a user needs. A client actually is a PC or a workstation on which the user runs their application. So client provides an interface for all the users so that they can run their applications on the client. And client, with the help of the server, they they provide or they satisfy or fulfill the needs of the user. So, for example, we can say as a client, a client example can be said as a web browser. Like when you search, when you go to a Google page, or when you log into a Facebook page, those all are the example of the client. Because at that moment, the client, that is the Google page or the Facebook page, fulfills the need of the user. For example, if I am a user and I am going to a Google page, then my fulfillment or my requirement is that I want to search something on that Google page. Or if I am using a Facebook page, that means that at that time I want to log into my Facebook page. So that interface that is provided to me with the by Google or the Facebook is can be said as a client. So reading to the PPT, we can see all the points of the PPT. It is said that clients are the PC or the workstation on which the user application runs. A simple, as we say, that Google or Facebook example, we can relate to that. Client sends resource request to the server through the connected network. So when we log in, when we put our password and email ID on the Facebook login page, Facebook login page sends a request to the Facebook database or server, saying that this is the password and this is the Gmail ID, or this is the Facebook ID, and with the help of the server, the Facebook page fulfills our needs. The third point, we can say, it is a single user workstation that provides presentation service and the appropriate computing and the database service to the end user. We are the end user in this scenario. Facebook is the client in this scenario, and it helps us and gives us a presentation that this is where you have to put your your email ID. This is where you have to put the password. And then after clicking on the after typing on the password and the needs, then we click send, and after that the client will send the information to the server. So in this whole scenario, the Facebook page is the client, and we are the end user. And the Facebook is giving us an presentation service. Okay. And they rely on the servers for the resource such as files, device, and even processing power. So obviously, without the help, without the need, or without the servers, the Facebook login page is nothing. When we log in, when we type our credentials to the Facebook page, then they go to the servers, cross-checking that all this email ID or the password that is provided to them by us is right or wrong. So without the help of the servers, this client is just a presentation page and nothing else. So they rely on the servers for all the for fulfilling our needs. Now, moving on, we will learn about or we will read about the types of clients. As you can see in the PPT, there are two types of clients: thin clients and fat clients. So, what is a thin client? The term thin client sometimes means the hardware and sometimes means one second. Huh. And sometimes mean hardware and software elements. In the material sense, a thin client is a computer in client server architecture and which has almost no application logic. This computer depends mostly on the central server and central server for processing. So thin client, as you can see, sorry, I have first discussed about the thin client. Fat client I'll discuss later. So thin client just is a working application that rely mostly on the servers. They don't have many RAM or processing unit to support that to support the user's task and functioning. So they rely mostly on servers. So there can be some disadvantages and advantages. Advantages of the thin client is in every web application. The example that I have given, that Facebook login page or the Google login page, they all are the thin client. They don't do any processing power. They don't have any processing power. They just take the information from the user and give it to the servers. So this is, all are the examples of the thin client. All the web applications are the examples of the thin client. So in web application, the use of the client simplifies work by eliminating the need to distribute and install the machines. So just because the web applications that we use every day in our life, it reduces our work. It reduces the work of the user. The users don't have to download all the other applications from other application. They just can log in to the web application and they just can do their computing work there. So it reduces the work and it reduces the work of the user. This is the advantage of the thin client. Now there are some disadvantages also. As part of the customer equipment, clients are much less prone to breakdown. So it is also advantage that if a thin client, it is very less prone to breakdown. Now moving on to the fat client. A fat client a fat client is just opposite to the thin client. In a thin client, there is no the user does not have enough RAM, processing unit, and everything. But in the fat client, fat client has a lot of ROM, processing unit embedded in itself. So a fat client does not depend on the server that much as compared to the thin client. Now, reading to the PPT, as you can see, a fat client is a computer in a client server architecture that provides broad functionality independent of the central server. Please note this, read this line: independent of the central server. So, a fat client helps the user to be independent. So, this is one of the advantages of the fat client, that it helps the user to be independent of the central server. It does not rely on the central server as much as the thin client. The thin clients are not mostly dependent on the server for resources. They have their own resources, they have their own processing unit. They are also known as thick client. So another name of the fat client is a thick client. Now, relating to the thin client, a thin client is designed to be specially small so that the bulk of the data processing occurs on the server. So as we can see that thin client depends on the server as much, very much more than the fat client. It does not have that processing unit. It depends on the servers for their needs. These clients are heavily dependent on the server for their resources. Okay. Now, moving on to another question of our PPT, that what is a server? So, as we have studied so much, as we have studied that client is an interface. We know that client is an interface that fulfills the demands and the needs of the user. But without the help of the servers, the your client is nothing. Because without help of the server, a server is burdened by all the hard work and the calculation, all the calculation that we do. Like for example, the Facebook login page example that I said, told you that when we type in our email ID and password, the client just gives the information to the server, but it is a server that cross check all the things, that it cross check that the email ID is true or is right or wrong, is the email ID and the password matches or not. ठीक है. When we search a Google, when we search any page on our web browser, the first information goes to the DNS server. The DNS server contains all the names and the IP addresses. When we type in our in our web browser google.com, but google.com is not a name. Is We have to type in the IP address. But what we do, we just type the www.google.com. Then this request is given to the DNS server. That server then calculates what's the IP address of the google.com, and then it redirects us to the Google page. So this is the work. As a user, I just typed www.google.com. That was my need, and that need was propagated or given to the server, to the from the by the client, and then the server calculated the needs, and then redirected or fulfilled my task or functions. So this is the way you can imagine how the circle, or the how what is the flow of the flow of the task that is happening. I'm giving my request to the client. Client is giving it to the server. Server is calculating using its ROM processing unit, and then fulfilling our task. A server is connected to all the databases, which help the server to fetch information according to the needs of the user. The server responds to the needs of the user. Okay, so relating to the PPT, server is a powerful computer. As we all know, it has to be a powerful computer, because I am not the only one who is searching google.com. There are billions and billions of people who are searching google.com in their web browser, and they are all connected to their servers, and the server has to be very powerful computer to fulfill or calculate the needs of all the users. So the server is a powerful computer which provides appropriate reply to the client, from which the requests came through the connected network. So everything is obviously connected to through a network. The client is connected to a network, through a network to the server. The server is connected through a network to the client, and we are also connected to the client through a server, through a network. It is one or multi-user processor. Obviously, it is one or more multi-user processor. As I said in the example of the Google or the Facebook, there are billions of people who are connected to the internet and searching for the google.com or logging to the Facebook page. In 1 second, there are billions of people. So it has to be more than multi-user processor with shared memory, providing computing, connectivity, and the database services. So it is a central hub in the central client server architecture. So as we all know, what is the importance of the server in the client server architecture? Server is the brains of the client server architecture. Client is just providing the information that the server has to feed or has to calculate. Now, moving on to the client server architecture. So, till now I have told you about server and clients, and partly I have told you about the server architecture also. I have told you how the client is connected to the server, how server calculates the needs of the user that is provided to it by the client, and then process and help the user. So a client server architecture is a network architecture. Obviously, it is a network architecture because it is connected. Client and server and users are connected with through to each other through a network, in which each computer or process on the network is either a client or a server. So in a client server architecture, either you can be a client or you can be a server. If you are a client, your functions are predefined, and if you are a server, your functions are predefined. Client provides the message to the server, and server processes. Client server architecture is a producer consumer. This is a very important line, that client server architecture is a producer consumer computing architecture. Producer and consumer. So as a client, it is as a client, it is producing the needs of producing the needs or taking the needs of the user, and the server is calculating the needs of the server and feeding to the consumer. So it's a very important line that client is a server. Client server architecture is a producer consumer computing architecture, where the server act as a producer, the client act as a consumer. Now, leading to the PPT, client server architecture is a network in which each computer or process on the network is either client or the server. The architecture is modeled as a set of the services that provided by the servers and the set of the client that use those services. So this is a very simple line that it is saying that the architecture is a thing in which the services are provided. Services is provided by servers and it is provided to the clients or the users. The client knows of servers, but servers need not know about the client. So this can be one thing, that a client may know about the servers, but the server does not know. Client server architecture is like producer, very important line. The client server architecture is a producer consumer architecture, where the server act as a producer and the client act as a consumer. Now in the next PPT, in the next slide, I can show the this is a diagram of a simple client server diagram. This is the multiple client or the multiple users that is connected to a server through a network. As you can see, this is the network that the client are connected to the servers. Now this is a request. So first, the client will send a request to the server. Now, the server, with the help of its processing unit, will calculate what are the services that we can provide to this client, and how does that server calculate the function that it has to provide to the client with the help of the databases it has. For example, in the Facebook login page, it goes to the database and sees that the email ID and the password are matching or not. If it matches, then it provides a service to the client that yes, you can log in. Or if it does not match, then it provides the response to the client that the email ID or the password that you have entered is wrong. Now I'll hand over to Ranveer to continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who? Ranbir, na? Ranbir.
Hello, sir.
You are Ranbir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Ranbir, always divide the slide into two half. Okay.
Yes, sir.
First half text, right hand side some picture, some figure, in order
Okay.
to make the slide a little bit interesting for the viewer.
Yes, sir.
Only text doesn't attract the attention of the viewer. So
Yes.
always divide the slide into two halves. Left column, right
Yes, sir.
column. Right column should be always a picture, whether a picture of a client server or a Google architecture or whatever may be, something,
Yes.
so that it attracts the attention of your friends.
Yes.
What you are telling, okay? And it should be correlated. The left and right, both columns should be strongly correlated. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. So
Sir, is
next,
the slide
yeah,
visible, sir?
next slide, all students try to learn properly. Okay.
Sir, is it visible, sir?
Yeah, yeah, it's visible. Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about the client server architecture. Now, the types of client server architecture. This is the architecture part, and it is divided into two parts, two types. It is first is the two tier, and the second is the third tier, three tier. So now two tier is also level, sorry, layer. So two layers. You can say two tiers or two layers. So even in the two tiers, it is in two parts divided: client tier and the data tier. So in client tier, it has the two layers. Means in client layer itself is, it has the two layers. One is the presentation layer, and then application layer. And in the server, in the data layer, it is having the database server. So database layer and the client layer. First is the client layer, which contains presentation layer and application layer, and the server contains the database layer. It is also known as client server application. Now the communication takes place between the client and the server. So this is one picture of two-tier architecture. In this client tier, and there is the database tier. The client tier contains presentation layer for the end user, and also the application layer in itself, in client tier itself, or client layer we can say. And in the database tier, it contains the database layer for fetching the resources or the information or data or anything. So this is two-tier architecture, which is a type of client-server architecture. So moving on, so one example we can say that the user, suppose in the client layer side, the user wants to save the data in the SQL database server, that data layer. So client sends the request to the server and processes the request and sends a reply that the data is saved. Now the main problem with two-tier architecture is that the server cannot send the reply to multiple clients at the same time. So at the same time, it cannot send the reply to multiple clients for their requests. So this is one disadvantage, and also one and advantages of two-tier is that it is easy to maintain and modification is easy. Because in the client tier itself, we have the presentation and application layer. So it is easy to maintain, and the modification is easy. Communication is also easy in the two tier. Now disadvantage: in two tier architecture, application performance will degrade upon increasing the users. If we increase the users, means the clients, if many clients are there in that architecture, then the application performance will degrade, because every client will not sit idle. They will send the request as per their requirement, and server has to reply. So it cannot reply many clients at the same time, so it will take time. So that's why performance will degrade. This is one disadvantage also. Now three tier, or we can also say three layer. So now in this layer, presentation, application and database layer, all three are separated. In the two tier, presentation and application layer were in the client layer, and database layer was only separated. But in this three tier architecture, all the three layers, presentation, application and database layer, are separated. So client system handles presentation layer, means that the client, the host, it can handle only the presentation layer. That application, now application server, it will handle the application layer, and that server, the main server, it will handle the database layer. So this is three layered, three tier. So what is presentation layer? It is also known as client layer. This is the layer we see when we use a software. So any software we use, suppose here I have taken the example of Gmail. For example, login page of Gmail. So an end user could see the text boxes and buttons. Here he will enter the user ID, password, and click on sign in. So it is, in simple words, it is to view the application, means what is present in that. That is the presentation layer. End user can see that. Now application layer, it is also known as logical layer. Again, the Gmail example. Once user clicks on the login button, that sign in button, application layer will interact with the database layer, and database layer will verify whether that user is authentic or not. So it is like a mediator. Application layer is a mediator between that presentation layer and database layer. This yes, in simple words, it is to perform operations on the application. And the third is data layer. The data is stored in this layer. So whether that user is authentic or not, whether he has logged in, or the new user, if he want to sign up, he has to put his put his data on that data layer. Means he has to make his account, that Gmail account, and that information, all his information will be stored in that data layer. So basically it contains methods that contains the database. So the required action can be that insert, update, means all that data it can insert. Insert means the new account. Then update also, if you want to, if you by mistake any user has put his name wrongly, then he can update it and correct it. If any user wants to has made two accounts and he want to delete any one, he can also delete it. And in simple words, it is used to share and retrieve the data. So this is the picture of the three-tier layer. Presentation layer, all those hosts which are connected to the application layer, and this hosts and this application server and this database server, all these acts as components, and the network between them are the connectors. So continuing this two-tier and three-tier. Two-tier thin client, as already explained, thin client and fat client. In two-tier thin client, all the application processing and data management is carried out on the server, because it does not have much resources in thin client, so it is highly dependent on server for anything, for any resources. And fat client runs some or all of the application logic. It can run by its own. In three-tier, it allows for better performance than a thin client approach and is simpler to manage than a fat client approach. Thin client approach in three-layered is simple to manage than a fat client approach. So for the client server architecture, the advantages: centralization of control. The access of resources and integrity of the data are controlled by the dedicated server. Means any unauthorized client who is not that part of that architecture cannot damage or cannot do anything to that system. It is all controlled by the central server. Whether any unauthorized client is coming and taking any data or anything, he cannot do that. This is taken care by the central server. This centralization also facilitates task of updating data or other resources. Now, scalability. You can increase the capacity of clients and servers separately. So, if we this is one advantage, because if any client want to be added in an architecture, client server architecture, it can be possible. Scalability is there. So now any element can be increased or enhanced at any time. So now, or you can add new nodes to the network. So any node or any client can be added. So easy maintenance. Third advantage, it distributes the roles and responsibilities to several standalone computers. If any client is supposed not working properly or damaged, then it cannot stop the functioning of the entire client server architecture. So maintenance is easy. It can be detected whether which client is suffering with the problem, and other clients or the server will not be affected by that. So maintenance is easy. This is the third advantage. And disadvantage, traffic congestion. So traffic congestion is a major disadvantage in client server architecture. For example, the basic example I can say, or the real life example, suppose the CBSE board result, 10th or 12th, as immediately the result comes, every student wants to see the result, but at the same moment they cannot send that error comes because of the traffic congestion. High number of students, mostly many number of students who act as a client are requesting for their result from the CBSE result server, but it is in very high amount such that the traffic congestion comes, so that the CBSE result server cannot reply and sends an error message. So this is one example of traffic congestion, and it is a disadvantage in client server architecture. Now, the software and hardware of a server are usually decisive. So we cannot take any server or any hardware and make a client server architecture. It is not possible that way. A specific type of software and specific type of hardware is required for client server architecture. Okay. And it can increase the cost if that server or particular software or hardware is costly, then you have to bear that cost. Now, third disadvantage is the client does not have the resources that may exist on. Yes, client will not always have the resources which it wants. It has to contact to the server for resources. So one example of client server architecture is the internet, and in that web browser, end user uses the web browser, suppose in Google Chrome. Here we can see the picture that one URL is being sent as the client request from the web browser, that http:/page.html, that is the client request, and the server, that web server, gives the response, and that content of web page.html, or even error code if that page is not available, then error. So this is where the client server architecture works in the internet. This is a basic example. So yes, thank you. This is all.
Okay. Okay. Mahendra Sharma?
Yes, sir.
Your favorite topic,
Yes,
client
sir.
server. How is the presentation by your two good friends?
Yes, sir. Presentation is good, but I have a one doubt.
Yeah, sure.
Hello,
Yeah.
sir. It is not
Yes.
my favorite, but it's like just like my area of interest. Something you call that. It is doesn't mean that it's my one of the favorite.
Whatever maybe. It's a presentation.
Anyway,
It has a
sir.
lot of application. It has a lot of.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah. Anyway, can sir,
challenge or
may I,
not comment anything. You just
sir?
accept. In the life, you a lot to accept.
Yeah, yeah, sir. Anyway, sir, can I ask that question?
Yeah, sure.
Actually, sir, it's not question, but I have a doubt while Ranveer is showing like slide. Maybe that I didn't miss the slide number, but he is talking about the working of that all the layers. Hello, hello,
Yes.
Which
sir.
slide
Is
number
I'm
you should tell? You should tell which slide number.
so sorry, sir.
Sorry,
Uh,
sir. All the time you are sorry. You have to note
so
down. That's why he is writing the
This
slide
slide.
yeah,
number.
yeah. So like you are explaining the what type of like what is doing on that what is done on that every layers. So my question is ki, uh, like as a client server computing, what happens the like uh, traffic is very high, So we must have to be take care of that. Also, we have to take the major disadvantage of this policy or this architecture is, I think, like that data security is one of the most major issue or major concern. So how can you, like, what are the steps taken or measures taken for the data security? Because like if you thinking that you will place a backup for every client, so it take lots of storage problem also. One, if we are trying to solve one problem, another problem arises. I hope you are understanding or getting my point.
Yes, this is one
Yes.
disadvantage.
So
So
that
the
is, that's
disadvantages
why I sent
about
that's why I sent you what are the, because like what is my, now I'm coming to my point. So if you are talking about the layer, all 7-layer OSI model, so if you are divided on the one is one portion, like bottom 3 layers are divided as a subnet and the rest of top 4 layers are as a host portion. So if on the like a top 4 layers, I think, if I'm not forgotten, presentation layer is responsible for security threats. All the security taken measure by the presentation layer. So how can you transfer,
Presentation
or
layer
how?
is
Yeah,
presentation layer is only the screen, means the end
Here,
user
here,
will only
Mahendra,
see.
you listen, just please listen, Mahendra.
yeah, sir.
This presentation layer, application layer, and data layer is not according to the open system interconnection layer. It is
Okay.
not according to the OSI layer. The presentation layer, they are suggested here as the user or the client, means the sender. In that aspect, they have written here. Okay.
So
And
sorry, sir.
the application layer is the middle layer where the processing is occurring. But in the OSI connection, the application layer is the first layer
Yes,
where
sir.
that is the interface to the user. And the
Okay,
data
okay.
layer is in that OSI layer, the data layer is the data link layer. Before the physical layer, before sending the packets in the physical path, it has to go through the data link layer. That another aspect. But they have given the notations like something different, like presentation layer or application layer, data layer. These are not the exact layer in the OSI layer.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
That's why
and
what
in
I'm
the
saying.
OSI layer
And
also.
if you are saying about the
Shiva wants to
security
say
part,
something.
the
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
security,
In
you
the
can provide the
I think
security.
Shubham is talking, na?
No, I'm just saying
Yes.
that in the OSI model also, we have learned in the gate that in
Hello,
every,
Shubham.
yeah, hello, you can hear my voice? Hello, Mahendra.
Yeah, Ranveer. I think
Yeah,
Ranveer. Yeah,
no,
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 Ranveer.
it's
it's
Shiva.
Shivam. It's Shivam.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
saying that if you're talking about the security and everything, so
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the OSI layer, there are 7 layers, and in every layer, like in transport layer, network layer, there is
yeah,
a security patch in every layer. Like, I don't remember the name. There's RSA model is there in the for the security cryptography for the cryptography purpose that our messages is first cryptographed or is first converted into another language and then it is sent. Then we have a public key, private key. So in the security matter in the OSI model, we have learned for our gate that these all are the measures that is taken for
yeah.
in the security portion.
That's why
But
I was
in this,
trying to connect from the
yeah,
gate
okay.
knowledge. That's why
Yeah,
only. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
No,
understand.
Actually,
But in
actually,
this,
I
this
understand
is
what.
not according to the
what
OSI model.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
about the
yeah.
client server architecture.
Yeah, Debba sir is saying na, so that's why I understand that this is not according to that layer what we are
OSI,
studying
yeah,
at the year. Yeah, that's fine.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
And for
My pleasure.
security reason, you can also apply or implement here the channel security, means end-to-end security in every layer, otherwise a packet security. You can provide the security to the packet or to the channel. But if you are providing the security to the channel, that is more useful. If you are provide security to the packet security, another is channel security. Channel security is from end to end, from layer to layer, from one layer to next layer. Okay. And for Shibham and Ranbir, I
Yes,
want to convey one message that this preparation or presentation is completely theoretical aspect. Okay, you
okay.
should have your contribution in this paper, in this presentation. But these are some clerical jobs you have done in this presentation. Just doing some copy paste things from internet source as well as some ebook source. What I am guessing here. And
Uh,
there is no like any architecture design from your own hand or any own architecture design from your original. that is not placed in your presentation. Try to give that type of architectural view and what the figures you are providing in your presentation work. First thing, you have to do your own by doing it with some drawing tools. Please don't
Okay.
copy. These are some copy paste figures you have pasted in this presentation or in this PPT. And already sir told to you, keep the figure in the left side and in the right side you keep the text. And the main thing in this presentation, you have to explain how it will work. What is the mechanism behind it? How the client is touching to the server? Who are the middle? What are the middle components? How you are selecting a path? What should be the routing technology? Means it is source routing or router routing. These things should be placed in a architecture. So this is the main aspect. How means the mechanism part. There is no such mechanism. These are some basic fundamental theoretical aspects what you have presented. Okay, please be careful about the architecture. When the next class the students are presenting, they have to focus on their architecture and how the architecture is working. What is the mechanism behind it? It should be at least 2-3 slides. Otherwise, it will be extremely theoretical part, which is more fundamental. Fundamental, it is okay. What is client? What is server? What is client server? What are the layers? What is 2-tier, 3-tier? Rather than going for the mechanism system, that is the important. So what are the layer work? How it is working? Everything you have to consider in architecture. You should have at least 2-3 slides for the mechanism explanation to explain the mechanism. How a client is touching to the server, who are the middlemen, by whom it is reaching to the server, and how the database server or how the network server is providing the response. And if you can include in the authorization part, then the security aspect will be there. Means it needs some authorization or authenticity. Okay, these are my suggestions. The next time, if when you are presenting, you should have the mechanism technique for any architecture. How that architecture is working.
Yes.
Okay, that much.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
can I stop sharing, sir?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please stop. Please stop. Okay, next class.
Okay.
Next is on Thursday. I am putting 2 persons for presentation. One is whom shall I give? One is batch sequential, other one is pipe filter. We are taking a long time, so we have to be a little bit precise. So I'm giving Rekaj. Rekaj, you take batch sequential, okay? Rekaj.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm listening. All right, sir.
Yeah. And who? After Rekaj Kasad, Nirmal Panda. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You talk about the pipe and filter, okay?
Okay, sir.
And follow the tips what Devu Bhaiya told you right now. So make it
Okay.
interesting for the audience. Show your own contribution in it. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Rekaj
Otherwise,
and
it will be like the clerical jobs.
yeah. Copy paste has no meaning. Okay, Rekaj and Nirmal. On next class on batch sequential and pipe filter and little bit squeezing. So talk on the vital point of component, connector, which type of connectors are there. You have read 6 connectors. We will go deep, but you also tell something. Okay? How roles, ports, color, collie, they take the role, what type of role they play. So related to our architecture study. Okay? Next class. Nirmal and Rekaj. Okay. Okay. Deba, you just complete that chapter.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Chapter 6. Last class we have covered about the different styles in our architecture. First one was the traditional style, already in which we have discussed, and The next one is the layered style, in which we have the virtual machine as well as the client server. Just we finished by through the presentation. And next one, the data flow styles, then the shared memory style, then the interpreter and implicit invocations, peer-to-peer, and some derived style. These styles we have discussed in the previous classes by taking the example of Lunar Lander. Now we will see the entire styles with their proper summary, where we have to use it, when you have to use it, and when you have to avoid it. Okay, one by one we have to complete. In the language influence style, or that is the traditional style, where we have two subpart in their style, main programs and subroutine. Another one was the object oriented style. First one is the main program and subroutines, in which the main program controls the entire execution of a particular source code or particular program. That is also known as a multi-programming subroutine. Then when we have to consider it, when we have to use it, this will be applicable when it is very small and some simple programs we are implementing. And when to avoid it, if the structure, if the architecture style or its program source code is very much complex, then try to avoid it, and it needs future modifications. The next one, object oriented. In this object oriented, the objects are encapsulated in the encapsulated state, which are accessing the functions. Means here the functions are accessible through in the encapsulation state. And when to use, close mapping between the external entities and the internal objects is sensible or is acceptable. Many complex and interrelated data structures can also be implemented using the object-oriented style. When to avoid it? Now, when application is distributed with some heterogeneous network, if the application is distributed with some heterogeneous platforms, then strong independence between components are necessary. During that time, our components should be independent. Otherwise, you have to ignore it, avoid it. Because what is happening? Our components are connected through some connectors, and they are not directly independent. So during this case, you have to avoid it, and it needs high performance required. If you have not provided the high performance, you should avoid it. Then in the layered style, layered architecture style, we have the virtual machines and client server. First one, the virtual machine. It is a layer offering service to the layers of the above layer. Virtual machine, what it is providing means it is a layered by layer architecture, where it is providing the service to the top layer. After getting the request from the top layers, it provides the response to the top layers. Means the request will come from the top to bottom, and the response will go to the bottom to top. Many applications can be based upon a single common layer of services. During this time, you have to use interface service specification resilient when implementation layer must change. And when to avoid it, many labels are required. If there is a large number of labels, it is very difficult to handle, and you have to avoid. And it will ultimately leads to the inefficiency or incapability of any style. So during that time, if levels are more, you have to avoid it. The data structure must be accessed from multiple layers. Then the next one, client server. Client server service request from a server. Already just discussed through the presentation. Means clients will request to the service, request service to the server with proper request and authentication. So when to use it? This is by the centralization of computation and data at a single location promotes the manageability and scalability. The end user processing limited to data entry and presentation. Then when to avoid it? The centrality presentation if are in a single point of failure. If it is the centrality location in a single point, then there might be a chance of any failure, and there might be a chance of any risk of the centralized computation part. So during that time, you have to ignore it. And when the network bandwidth will be limited, try to avoid it. The client machine capabilities rival and exceeds the servers. And also when the large number of clients will connect to the server in a particular time, during this time, this architecture should be avoided. A large number of clients are connecting to the server in a simultaneous manner. Next one, the data flow style, where we have two substyles like batch sequential and pipe filter. For batch sequential, it needs some separate programs to be executed sequentially, one by one. First program, then the next program, executively by giving the batch input. And when to use it? When the problem easily formulated as a set of sequential serviceable steps. Means the problems will be sequential and will be formulated in a serviceable step. Step by step, if it is serviceable, then we have to use it. Then, when to avoid it? Interactivity or concurrency between the components necessary or desirable. Means if there is lack of interactivity, if there is lack of concurrency between the components, then you have to avoid it. Then pipe and filter. Separate programs. Pipe and filters. Already you told the pipes are the connectors and filters are the just a minute. Pipe and filter. Filter is the component and pipe is the connector. Here the separate programs, also known as the filters, are components executed potentially concurrently. The pipe route a data stream between the filters. It will just provide a path. Which one? The pipes. These are the connectors. Provide a stream of data or data streams. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir, audible.
Yes, I am audible. Am I audible or not?
Yes, sir, audible.
Audible.
Please respond. Okay. I think the voices are too low during this time. Okay. When to use the pipe and filter? When the filters are useful in more than one application. A particular component will be useful in more than one application. Means they are solution agnostic and can be implemented in different platforms so that they can be applied for different applications. And the data structures, if the easily seriable, if the data structures are easily seriable and they are applied in multiple platforms, then we have to use the pipe and filter. Multiple platform means it is solution agnostic. Then when to avoid it? The random access to data it requires. When we need some random access of data, means there is lack of sequentiality. If it is not lack of sequence, if there will not be any sequence, means we are randomly accessing to the data, then it is avoided. The interaction between the components required, then we have to avoid it. And exchange of complex data structures between the components required. If there is any complex data structure we need for the interaction between the components, then we have to avoid the pipe and filter. The next one is the shared memory style, where we have the blackboard style and rule-based style. The blackboard styles are nothing but they are independent problems where the components are completely independent, and they are access and communicate exclusively through a global repository known as Blackboard. Since our components are independent, there is no share resource available in this case. So they should access to a global repository. They should access to a global server. And when to use it, all calculation centers on a common changing data structure, on a common platform changing data structure, where all the calculations are centrally computed. During the time we have to use it. Order of processing dynamically determined and data driven. The processing feature, the processing structure are determined dynamically or during the real-time processing. And when to avoid it? Now the programs that deals with some independent parts of the common data. If we are deals with some independent part of some common data, we have to avoid it. Means it is saying that there should not be any shared resource. There should not be any common data accessible from a common point, from a shared resource. It is accessing through only the central repository or global repository. And the interface to common data susceptible to change. And if the common data is susceptible to change, you have to avoid it. When interactions between the independent programs require complex regulation. So during the interaction for the independent programs with the global repository, if there is some complex regulations, if there is some complex guidelines for accessing that common structure or common data in the central repository, then we have to also avoid it. Next one, rule-based. After shared memory, it is rule-based. It uses the facts or rules that is entered into the knowledge base to resolve the query. Means it is solely dependent on the knowledge repository or the knowledge database to resolve any query from the after getting the input. When to use it? When problem data and queries expressible as the simple rules over which the inference may be performed. And when to avoid it? The number of rules is large. Just like I told previously, if the regulation is complex, if the number of rules are very much large, then during that time you have to avoid it. And when to avoid it? The interaction between a rule present, we need some high performance. If there is a large number of rules, we need more interactions, and for which we need some high performance. So if there such things will occur, then we have to ignore it. Then the next one, interpreter. It is another style in which we have interpreter and mobile code. Interpreter parses just like a parser. What it will do? It will parse a token to generate some particular token after giving the input. So the interpreter will parse and execute the input bit of streams, updating the state that is maintained by the interpreter. The interpreter will maintain a bit of streams before the parsing or before the execution. And when to use it? It is highly dynamic behavior since a bit of streams are maintained by the interpreter during the execution. So it is dynamical behavior of the interpreter, and if there is some high degree of end user customizability. If you need the real-time customizability of your execution, you should use the interpreter. And when to avoid? If there is some high performance, more than the complex performance, then during that time it may fail and you have to avoid. Then the mobile code, another style of the interpreter. This code is a mobile, free code. It is independent code, isolated code that is executed in a remote host. This code in a remote location that will not be concurrent or attached to any other dependent source. And when to use it? When it is more efficient to move processing to a data set, then the data set to be processed with some desirous way, and it should be customized dynamically by doing the local processing of the node through some inclusion of external code. If you need some external code with proper processing, with proper customization in a remote location, then you also use it. And when to avoid it? Security of mobile code cannot be assured. You may not give the security feature to the mobile code since it is uh, processing or if it is accessing from a remote location. So there might be a chance of security breach. So and when tight control of versions of deployed software is required. If you need just like a loose tightly coupled software, if you have stuck to software with some more complexities, with a software that needs a frequent update, during that time it is very difficult to deploy in that location. So during this time we have to avoid it. The next one, the implicit invocation style, where we have publish subscribe style and event based method. First, the publish subscribe style already we discussed. The subscribe will first time subscribe the notifications from the publisher, and the publisher will send the notification to the respective subscribers continuously. Here the publisher will broadcast the messages once the subscriber subscribes to the messages. Then when to use it? The components are very loosely coupled. Loosely coupled means they are dependent, something dependent. Tightly coupled means highly independent, and loosely coupled means dependency is there. The subscription data is small and efficiently transported. During this time you have to use. And when to avoid it? When a middleware to support the high volume data is unavailable. And if you are subscribing with some high volume of data, very large size of data, it is very difficult to handle the architecture style. Means it is just very difficult handled by the architecture style, and you have to avoid it. The next one is event based. Event based, where we need a bus. Bus means the connector. That bus will connect the independent components through which they can share their resources or knowledges or signals, whatever. The event base is an independent components asynchronously emit and receive events communicated over the event bus. They will asynchronously communicate. Means it does not mean that there will be some synchronization between the components. Okay. Synchronization means simultaneously they may not respond. So during this case, what will happen? Now one component will send the signal to the boss. The boss will send to the component. And when to use it? In this, during this style, the components are concurrent and independent. And the components are heterogeneous and network distributed. Also, it will work with network distributed. In this feature, we have to use it. And when to avoid it? If there is a guarantee on a real-time processing of events is required. If we need some real-time processing of our events, then we have to avoid it because these are not synchronous. The next one is peer-to-peer. Here means one hop to another hop or one position to another position. The peers hold the state and behavior and can act as both the clients as well as a server itself. The peers are distributed in a network, in an entire network. If you are using a particular network, in that network, the peers or nodes are distributed in the entire network and can be heterogeneous. Means different nodes, different type of nodes, and are mutually independent. Mutually independent means if you will share something, they will share for you something. That is the mutual independent. Mutual means if you are taking, you are also giving. The robust interface of independent failure. In that time you will use, and if you need some high scalability, the peer-to-peer is used. And when to avoid it? If there is some trustworthiness or independent peers cannot be assured. If you are not realizing that it is trustworthy, and if you are not realizing it is independent, and you have to avoid it. And when the resource discovery is inefficient without designated nodes. Means if the resource discovery are not that much efficient without the designated node, then you have to avoid it. The next one, some more complex styles. That is the derived styles we are discussing. One is the C2 component connector, another one the distributed object. First one is the C2, which is a layered network of concurrent components communicating by the events. So when to use it? When independence from substrate technologies required, the heterogeneous applications we need for it, and when support for product lines are desired, just like the previous examples or previous PPT we told about the product line of any television technology. So when you need a support for product line technology, we are using it. Okay, and when to avoid it? Now when high performance is needed with many layers, we have to avoid it. And if there is multiple thread of processing, we need a processing thread means a sub part of your process. We need a multiple threads and which are inefficient, we have to avoid it. Then the next one, distributed objects. Here the objects are instantiated on different hosts. It is a localized with different hosts. Which one? The distributed objects. And here the objective is to preserve the illusion of location transparency. It will show when to use it if there might be a illusion on showing the location transparency. And when to avoid it when the high overhead of supporting the middleware is excessive. In between the communication between client and server, if there is any high excessive support from the middleware is there, you have to avoid it. And when the network properties are unmaxable, you have to avoid. Means all are open, nothing is secure. In a practical terms, you have to avoid it. Now, these are some summaries of all the styles. Next, that is the design recovery.
That you close it.
Yes, sir. This design recovery, something.
How many slides are left?
Sir, today 15 completed, remaining 12, total 27 in this PPT.
Then you leave it. It is already 5.
Sir, 12 slides. It will take time.
It will take time. Okay.
Sir.
Okay. We'll close it down. But these 4 slides, whatever Debobhai has showed, they are very, very important to know a comparative view.
Comparative view. This is the main gist of all the styles.
And these styles are always necessary. You have to accept one style for a particular purpose, for a particular requirement. So you have to know when to use, when to avoid. When to use, when to avoid. So you should know it very exactly. You should not get confused. Where there is a need of blackboard, you should not fix their pipe and filter. Where there is a need of peer-to-peer, you should not fix their batch sequential. So where to use, where to avoid. It should be in your tip of your tongue. I would have asked you to present, not present, to submit, but you will copy paste that. But I want it is very, 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 very important. Each one has to understand it very thoroughly. When to use, when to avoid. When to use a batch sequential, when to avoid a batch sequential. When to use a virtual machine, when to avoid a virtual machine. You have to understand it. In which you look requirement, you should use which style. And all the time, style plays a very vital role to fix up the configuration. In which configuration you are planning to decide your architecture. So it is very, it plays a major role for configuration. 3 C's are important: component, connector, and configuration. So for configuration, these 6 styles are important. Based on these 6, you go for derived one, whether C2 or Corba, any sort of combination of these existing ones. So they are very important. Please go through them, close your eyes, write down in your notebook. Write down in your notebook once or twice on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Don't forget it. Okay? Don't forget it. I will ask randomly anytime when to use peer-to-peer, when to avoid peer-to-peer. I will ask randomly anytime. So get yourself prepared. Keep it in your tip of your tongue. That's my request. That's my advice. Very much helpful. I'll ask anytime. In the question, definitely one or two small question will come. When to use pipe and filter, when to avoid pipe and filter. Okay? So we are closing the book.
Yes,
So,
sir.
how many are absent today? The same three.